Hello everybody, back for our second lesson on fractions. Okay, let's go straight into it. Let's go on to our Maths Smart. And fantastic, here we are again. We are starting with our number formation. So I'm going to go ahead and have a practice. And please do tell your grown-ups at home or your teacher in your classroom, you mustn't forget those children in school, that we have our number formation rhyme for number 5, which is down and around. Oh, slightly funny one, that one. Then a flag on high. That's the way we make a 5. I'm sure you guys can do it a lot neater. Obviously, it's very hard to do it on these smarts. It's a lot more straightforward when we're doing it on the whiteboard or the flip chart. Have a practice that at home and then come back to me when you have finished. Excellent. Okay, let's carry on with the rest of our lesson. So today, our learning objective, what we're going to be learning about today, and I did briefly mention this, just can't help myself in yesterday's lesson, and that is recognise and find 1/2. So what is 1/2? Let's look at our gummy bear. The whole gummy bear, all of it, the whole gummy bear is split into parts. Well, we have one part here and we have another part here. There are 2 parts. What is each part worth? Each part is worth, correct, each part is worth 1/2. And we write that like this. We put our line because it's out of 2 parts. I said there were 2 parts. And if we look at one part or each part, if I shade this in, I've shaded in one part out of the 2, 1/2. And that's how we break down writing that fraction. Okay, so if we're thinking about half today, I want you to look at these 2 apples on the screen. Is this correct? Why? What was that important thing that we were talking about yesterday when we're thinking about fractions? There were 2 words. I want you to pause it now and have this discussion. They both begin with that E. Excellent. Equal. We were thinking about equal parts and unequal. And if I actually go back to that so we can remember, we were looking at which ones were unequal, we've got our crosses here, and which ones were equal. There's the same amount. And I've got half here, one part out of 2 is shaded, and they're both equal amounts. So this says not half, and this says half. So I want you to pause now and just think about whether you agree with this or not. Off you go. Okay, and underneath here it says it is split in half because it has been split into 2 equal parts. It is not split into halves because it has not been split into 2 equal parts. Who agrees with this or not? Brilliant. I don't think either of these are correct because when we look at this, you can't really see that this, let's use a line, that this has actually been split into 2 equal parts. We can see quite clearly that this is definitely not equal. We've got a small part here, a very small part, and a much larger part here. But equally here, it's very hard to see actually by using on that angle, on that diagonal line, that actually we have got half. I think arguably this might still be bigger, but it's not very accurate. And when we're thinking about fractions and we're talking about half, it needs to be exactly the same on both sides, equal in both parts. So really, if I wanted to split my apple into 2 equal parts, I would do it right down the middle. But even then, you'd have to make sure that they're both entirely equal. And I'm not quite sure that that one is either because of the line that's curving around here. So you just have to be careful when we're saying about fractions that they are definitely split into equal, the same parts. Okay, so let's look at our shapes. We know this. We've got 2D shapes from last week. We've got our pentagon. Okay, we've got a hexagon. We've got our triangle. So I would like you to look and see if you think each of these shapes are split into half or not. And up here, let me see if I can move this, because I'm aware that my camera will probably be in this top half of the screen. Let's move this just slightly over. Okay, the is split into 2 equal parts. Each part is 1/2. The is not split into halves because it has not been split into 2 equal parts. So exactly the same STEM language as we were using on the previous slide. So pause the video now, look at these shapes. We've also got an octagon here, and tell me what you think about this. Excellent. I think down here we can look at our hexagon and say that that has been split into half because there are 2 equal parts. We can look at our pentagon and we can say that this has not been split into half because these are unequal parts. This part here, if I shade it, is much smaller than this part here. If we look at our triangle, okay, I would not say that has been split into equal parts. That's unequal, it's not half, because it's not very accurate. It's a diagonal line and it's very hard to say which side is bigger. The best way to split the triangle in half would be to put a line straight down the middle so we have 2 equal parts. And what about this one with our octagon? This is a new shape for us. We didn't look at this one last week. And again, this part here, oh, I'm doing it with the arrow, Miss Di, go back to your pen. This part here is much smaller. So it has not been split into equal parts. This part is bigger. It has not been split into half. So remember, when we're dividing, when we're separating into half, into those parts, we need to think about them being equal, about being the same. Okay, so got some pictures for you to look at like we did in the last lesson, and it says which pictures show 1/2. So again, pause the video and have this discussion in the classroom or at home. Brilliant, let's go through them. So I'm going to tick the ones, let's do a green, not red all the time. I'm going to tick the ones in green that we all agree have been split into half, show 1/2. This one does, there are 2 equal parts. This one does, there are 2 equal parts. This one does, there are 2 equal parts. There are how many in each part? Brilliant, there are 6. I think they're cookies, they look delicious, in each part. And let me look over here. We have got 1, 2, 3, 4 cupcakes on this side. 1, 2, 3, 4 cupcakes on this side. They are equal, they are the same. This one has been split into half. And we've got 5 red and 5 yellow on our 10 frame. That one has been split into half. The others are unequal. Unequal, we've got different amounts, and we've only got 1 gummy bear here and we've got 2 left out here, so this one is also unequal. Brilliant. I hope you guys all came to the same answers as I did. Let's move on. Okay, back to thinking about our numbers, and with this representation, with these pictures, we're going to think about our representation that we're going to use. That's what I wanted to say. Which model we use alongside this. So let's start off. There are 12 cats in the cattery. Half of them eat chicken for breakfast. The other half eat tuna. How many cats eat chicken? Okay, so when we're thinking about half, how many parts do we have as the whole? How many parts do we have as the whole? So pause the video now and talk to your grown-up about this. Excellent. The whole, we have 2 parts. So I need to separate my cats into two parts first because I need to work out how many cats eat chicken. Half of them eat chicken for breakfast and the other half eat tuna. So I'm going to go back to my mouse and I'm going to put them into two parts. I'm going to put them on, separate them on the side of my screen. So I'm going to put one over here, and one over here, one over here, one over here. Let's do the closest ones, Miss Dyer. One over here, one over here, one over here, one over here. I've got 4 and 4 so far. One over here, one over here, one over here, and one over here. Fantastic. Let's move this fraction over here because I've put them into my two parts. Okay, and I want to know what one part, how many of them eat chicken, because these guys eat chicken and these guys eat tuna. Excellent. So let's count and check if we've got the same amount of cats in each part. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Excellent. So my question then is, how many cats eat chicken? Can you tell me? Brilliant. 6 cats eat chicken. That's 1/2. 6 cats eat chicken for breakfast. I couldn't imagine eating chicken for breakfast. I can't say that that would be my ideal breakfast, but if you're a cat, I guess it is. Okay. Mr. McInnes has 22 sweets. He wants to give half to his friend, Miss Dyer. How many sweets do they get? That's really kind of Mr. McInnes, and I'm so glad that he's going to share his sweets because I do like them. So he's got 22 sweets and he wants to give half to his friend, Miss Dyer. Now, actually, just looking at this without even counting, I will double check my answer afterwards. I can see that I've got 2 rows. So I'm going to put a line straight down the middle. Might circle it actually. And I'm going to count because when we're thinking about half, we have 2 parts, and I know that I've got 22 in total, and Mr. McInnes wants to give half to me, so that's my half at the top and this is Mr. McInnes's half at the bottom, and I want to know how many sweets am I going to get, or do they each get? So how many sweets am I going to get? How many sweets is Mr. McInnes going to get? So let's count. 1, 2. You count with me at home or in the classroom. 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. Those are my sweets. And I've got to make sure it's right because I want my sweets. Okay. Mr. McInnes' sweets. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. Aha, they're the same. That's brilliant. That means it's half exactly. So 1 out of the 2 parts, and they get 11 sweets each. Now, one of the things that I want to go through now with both my cats and my sweets is I want to think about the bar model, because this is excellent if you're doing any fraction work at home. Who can tell me what the whole number is? This doesn't have to be picture perfect or straight lines or anything, just as long as you've got the concept. I'm doing this on a smart, haven't got a ruler. So I want to know what's the whole amount of sweets before I separated them, before I shared them out. What's the total amount? Can you tell me? Brilliant, 22. Let's write in 22. How many did I get? I got 11. And how many did Mr. McInnes get? He got 11 as well. So there you go. I've put my bar model in. My 2 parts, 11 and 11. When I put them together, I made 12. And it's like what I showed you the other day with my bar model. This is my 22 at the top. I've got 11 here and I've got 11 here. You can write bar models in any way you want. You can write them on the side. You can write them with the parts on top. It doesn't matter. As long as you know that your 2 parts make your whole number then that's absolutely fine. It's just something to point out. If we go back here to my cats, how many cats did I have in total before I shared them, before I separated them? Who can tell me? 12. Brilliant. So let's put 12 here. How many cats ate chicken? Let's do the chicken first. They had 6 cats that liked chicken for breakfast. And 6 cats that like tuna. And if I know my doubles, I know that double 6 is 12. Excellent stuff. So just something to bear in mind whilst you're working on this today. Okay, let's move on. Sandy says the shaded part of the shape does not show a half because there are 4 parts, not 2 equal parts. Let me read this again before we move on. Sandy says the shaded part of the shape does not show a half. So the red parts of the shape, the shaded parts, do not show a half because there are 4 parts, not 2 equal parts. Do you agree? Explain why. So I want you to pause the video now and have this discussion in class or at home. Do you agree with Sandy or not? Okay, so let's look into this then. So Sandy says the shaded part of the shape does not show half because there are 4 parts. Well, there are 4 parts. There are 4 parts indeed. But if I made, and I don't actually know if I can do this, so we'll explore this together. Will that work? No, I'll have to do it. I bet Mr. McInnes and Mr. Davis are laughing at me because they always laugh at me with technology. It's not always my best thing that I can do, but I do try. If I shaded in this here to be red and we forget about the other side of the screen, so for now, I wonder if I can go back to here. I've got a rectangle here, haven't I? If I go and shade that in, would you say that I've got half of my rectangle? Yes, you would. Okay, so let's undo this bit. Let's undo all of that. And then if I shaded this part here, okay, very, very badly, Miss Dyer. And I wonder if, I don't know if I can actually pull the screen back for that one. We'll leave it as it was. If I shaded in this bit and we forget about this side for the minute, let's put a black line through this one. It's very difficult to show you this one on the screen, I have to admit. And we forget about this side. You would say that this side here, okay, was half. So although these 2 sides are opposite, if I moved this side, this square into this side, I would have half. And if I moved this white part onto this side, I would have half. So although they're opposite one another, they actually do still make half. So just be careful when you're looking at shapes. They might not necessarily be on the same size, but if you move them together, you transitioned them across, you would still have half and half. Hopefully the grown-ups at home can help me with explaining that one because it's a little bit tricky to use the SMART to teach. However, I thought it was a really good discussion point for the lesson. Okay. This is what I would like you to do today in your own time. Now I'm going to put a copy of this onto the weekly timetable, or we might send it out as a separate attachment. But either or, you've got to sort these shapes into, these pictures, but they are shapes, into ones that you think represent half and ones that you think do not represent half. And in the corner here, there's an extension for some of those children that want that additional challenge. So both of these will be on your weekly timetable. So once again, sort the shapes into equivalent to half and not equivalent to half. So have a go. What you can do is print them off, cut them out, divide your piece of paper into half and have half and not half, and put them into the right places on your sheet of paper. Can't wait to see the pictures. Have lots of fun And I'm going to stop my share. I'm going to wave at you properly. And I will catch up with you all tomorrow for our third lesson on fractions. Okay, bye.